Hi guys and welcome to the SCB channel. I'm Finn and today I'm here with a man that doesn't really need an introduction, but I'll introduce him anyway. I'm here with Misfits ring announcer Ryan Ventura. Ryan, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. I'm glad to talk to you today.
Well, thank you, man, and thank you for coming along as well, of course. It's a
Of
pleasure to have
course.
you on the channel. Um, so let's just start off by explaining a little bit about yourself. What kind of stuff do you do?
Outside of ring announcing or just in general?
Just in general, like tell me about your life, about yourself.
Okay, I'll do my best, within a nutshell. My name is Ryan Ventura. I'm from Surrey, British Columbia, Canada. So Surrey is about a 45-minute drive away from Vancouver, which is like the big city here. And yeah, I was born and raised here. I've been a lifelong combat sports fan. So I grew up watching boxing with my grandfather, and I actually watched the first UFC event when I was only 7 years old. So I've been around. I'm a diehard Vancouver Canucks fan, so that's like our hockey team here, even though they're not doing really well. Outside of that, I work like a regular, boring office job, like most people. That's my main full time thing. I work in the Vancouver nightlife scene, so like I promote events for like some of the biggest DJs and rappers to come to town. What else do I do? I'm really big into retro gaming. So, like I grew up playing in your part of the world, you guys call it the Sega Mega Drive. So
Yeah.
that was like my main thing growing up. And I still love the game today. In fact, like one of the things that I really like the game on right now, I'll show it to you because like you're a big nerd too. I'm a proud Steam Deck owner,
Oh
right?
wait,
So
oh,
like
wait.
hey,
Sorry.
you're part of the deck gang? Part
Where
of
is
the
it?
deck gang? Deck gang. Yeah,
Oh,
deck
it's really
gang.
dirty, but it's here.
Yeah, mine's dirty too. But yeah, oh, what's up? That's what's up, man. Which one do you have? Do you have the 256
I
one or do you
got
have the
the
high end one?
cheapest one and I had it on pre-order for like 9 months just because I wanted it.
Oh man, like and I'm sure you got like a terabyte of space on there, like with your SD card, right?
Oh
Yeah,
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 yeah, of course.
yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
SD card.
Because what is 64 gigs nowadays? That gets you nowhere, right?
Not
But
even a
yeah, like
game.
I'm massive, like Steam Deck gamer, and like I try to play around in it as much as I can. In fact, like every time I'm on the road with Misfits, you can probably see me playing on my deck.
Yeah. Well, it's really cool. Like, it's
Yeah,
like a Nintendo Switch, but a
on
computer.
steroids. It's way
Yeah,
better than Nintendo Switch.
exactly.
You could play Nintendo Switch on it,
Yeah, I was
right?
playing Spider-Man on it. Like that's insane.
I don't know, that's so cool, man.
Let's take it to ring announcing for Misfits.
Sure, sure.
How did you get into that?
Get into ring announcing or ring announcing for Misfits or both.
Let's start off with ring announcing in general.
Okay, so growing up here in Surrey, I'm proudly raised by a single mother who raised me and my younger brother. So, there wasn't a lot of room for opportunities and growth. We didn't have much growing up. So basically I had to come up with legal and legit ways to like make some extra money on the side, aside from my regular job. Like I worked every job known to man. Like I worked in a gas station, I worked in construction, I worked at Foot Locker and things like that. And one of the other things that like I've been really passionate about, like obviously I told you like I work in nightlife here, right? So like events. So me and my friends back in the day, we used to put our money together and we used to like rent out a hall, and then like we'd like sell tickets to these events. So like basically they'd be like mini raves and things like that. So like we'd host those for our friends and things like that in school. And anyways, like I would go up in the crowd, and like I was an aspiring rapper at one time myself, and like I would get on the mic and I'd hype up the crowd and everything like that, and that was cool. But being like a big combat sports fan, like I saw an opportunity for ring announcing. So now we're gonna fast forward a little bit. I used to work as a writer for lowkick.com, which is like a big MMA website. And like when the UFC came to Vancouver in June of 2011, I got the credentials to go to the fights. But before I went to the fights, I went to an event called the MMA Expo, where it was an opportunity for you to meet fighters and network with people and things like that. And I saw a promoter putting up a poster for an event called Quest for Glory. And I went up to the guy, the promoter, and I'm like, hey, man, like, I'm a big combat sports fan and I have some experience on the mic. I'd like to try ring announcing. Could I be your ring announcer for this event? And he told me that he actually hired a guy already to do the event, but he gave me three free tickets to attend the event the week after. So like I went the week after. I brought my younger brother and I brought my younger cousin. We went to the Croatian Cultural Center on Commercial Drive. That's where the event was going down. And the guy that they had to be a ring announcer, he was really cool, but he wasn't like the ring announcer type. Like he was like a guy that would like narrate like TV shows and nature documentaries and things like that. So he wasn't like super hype or anything. So the promoter came up to me. He's like, "Hey man, do you want to try this out?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So like, I went to the broom closet. I put on my dress shirt, and I didn't know anything about the card. I didn't know any of the fighters. I didn't know any of the officials. Nothing. So like, the promoter gave me a notepad and a pen to
Yeah.
to like, take notes and stuff. So essentially, as the fighters were making the walk to the ring, I was like, learning who they were as they're walking. So I'd go up to their coaches and be like, "Hey, what's that guy's name? How much did he weigh? What
Right.
camp
Yeah.
are you guys from?" Right. And the worst part was, so at the time, professional MMA, unless it was the UFC, was illegal in Vancouver. So like, they were amateur fights. So we had like this amateur volunteer group that was governing the fights, and they're all experienced guys, and they're fighters and martial artists and stuff, but they're volunteers. So like, in between the fights, if it went to a decision, I had to take my notepad, go up to every judge, and score the fight myself. And I'm horrible at math. So
Yeah.
like, I had to like score the fights myself. And at the end of the day, I thought I did okay, but the promoter liked me enough to keep me, and the rest is history. So I did all the Quest for Glory fights until their last fight, and I've been very fortunate to work all across Canada. I worked all across North America. Um, before I got noticed by Misfits, I was working for the Battlefield Fight League, which is basically the developmental promotion in Canada for the UFC. So we're on UFC Fight Pass and everything like that. So it's like Cage Warriors. It's like
Yeah.
Canadian Cage Warriors, right? So that really gave me a lot of experience. And then eventually, Misfits, they had this ring announcer contest for their first card on Instagram. It's like calling all ring announcers, right? And initially they picked Fox the G, who's really cool, and Huss,
Yeah.
who did the initial Misfits events and everything. So I entered that contest. I thought I liked my chances, but apparently, like, I got the call up actually for Misfits 03. Like, I got this DM from the Zone Boxing, and I thought it was fake.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think, like, the actual the Zone people would message me, but they did, and they liked me, and they brought me to Austin, Texas for Misfits 03. And that's where I was told that apparently I actually had the most tags and most comments for that contest.
Oh wow.
But due to logistics, because I'm from Canada, right?
Yeah.
They went with Huss and they went with Fox, and both of them are excellent, right? I still think Huss is an excellent announcer too. And eventually Foxy's gonna fight on Misfits, I think. But yeah, they liked me for Misfits 03. They went back with Huss and Michael Buffer, of course, the great Michael Buffer, for Misfits
Yeah.
04. And then they called me up again for Misfits 05 and 06, and now I'm doing the undercard at 07, and hopefully, like, I can continue this amazing ride. It's been fun.
I was gonna say that's been such a cool journey as well. And after not doing the first one, you must have been like, oh, okay, maybe it's just not the thing for me. And then to see that DM from the Zone, that's absolutely, yeah,
Yeah,
that's insane.
that was crazy. Like, I thought it was fake at first. I sent like a screenshot to my boys, because like we have like a group chat. I'm like, "Hey man, look who's messaging me. This is probably bullshit."
Yeah.
But no, it was the real thing. It was the
Yeah.
real thing. And I'm here now, and we're talking.
Yeah, I remember seeing you doing the first one, not the first Misfits, but the first Misfits that you were on, and you seemed like a natural. And of course, they've carried you on since then. So that must have been really cool.
That was so cool. And I'm hoping that, like, I can continue to grow and build with the brand. It's not just being like a company guy. I, as a fan, like, I personally think it is, like, the top level for crossover boxing.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, with Kingpin, I'm not sure how much you watched it. Their production
I
was
watch it.
amazing,
Yeah, it
but
was really good. They put on
yeah,
a good show.
yeah, and it was entertaining. But I think Misfits it's always just going to be at the top because it has these people like KSI, headlining and that kind of thing.
And of course, the Zone production, and like,
Yeah,
to be honest with you, like, we need like more players like, the Kingpins and the Creator Clash and all that kind of stuff. We need all of those brands to, like, do well and to pave their own lane, because, like, if Misfits is strong, if Kingpin is strong, if Creator Clash is strong, like, it just makes the whole scene stronger. There's more opportunities, more room for growth. And of course, like, on Twitter, you see dream matches. People are like, "Oh, how's the winner of the Kingpin tournament going to do against this guy?" and all that kind of stuff, right?
yeah,
It
and
creates that banter, that conversation.
this is what I mean, and it brings in loads of not just new eyes but new fighters as well. Because it'll get to a point where if you're just seeing the same 10 fighters on Misfits over and over again, it's going to get a bit boring. But Kingpin's introducing all these new people, Creator Clash are doing the same thing. It's really cool to see.
Yeah. It's very exciting time to, like, be in the scene, and I'm very grateful to, be one of the announcers for,
Yeah.
the big brand.
So did you have a favorite one that you've done so far on Misfits?
So far, my favorite one was the one in Telford. just
Yeah.
because like, you know, the building was packed, it was full. You know, there was like the energy in the UK doing my introductions, that was something else. It was like, you know, to this day, it's like one of the greatest feelings of my life. And I can only imagine how amazing it's going to feel to do the undercard at the OVO Wembley. It's going to be
Yeah.
crazy.
I mean, this is what I mean. I'll come back to the speaking about Telford
Sure.
in a little bit, but it was such a small arena. But you know, I was there as well, and just to feel the
Oh,
energy.
you,
Like, how was such a small crowd made? Like, just it doesn't make sense in my head, but it was insane the energy that was brought out by the fans there.
man, I honestly think it's because like, you know, the fans out in the UK in general, like you guys are just really passionate about
Yeah,
boxing. It doesn't matter if it's the amateur level or the highest level pro or the influencer level, like you guys just love boxing. That's part of your heritage. And like, you know, I'm sure like, you know, the day like for anyone born in the UK, you're born like waking up like in bed with like a pair of boxing gloves or a soccer ball. That's just how
I
it
mean,
is.
yeah,
Right.
something like that. But I
Yeah.
think it's that compared with the fact you've got, you know, the favorite, you've got Jay Swingler fighting, you've
Mm-hmm.
got King Kenny fighting, and it's just, yeah, some of these fans are like so diehard. So mixing that with boxing, they show up, man. They show up.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And I felt it, man, especially when I did that introduction. It was like I got struck by lightning. Like the hair on my arms, like is just sticking out right now, just thinking about it. It was crazy.
Yeah, and of course, you know, you've got your upcoming one, Misfit Seven, the OVO. Like, how does that feel?
Surreal. Like, I mean, I think back, you know, when I was telling you that story about, you know, getting my start at the Croatian Cultural Center and changing in a broom closet. Like, you know, I've
Yeah.
come a long way from that, man. Like,
I
no
mean,
more.
yeah, but, you know, you deserve it. You deserve it.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. But like, I think back on that, man, and you know, it's very humbling. And you know, I'm just gonna take things one event at a time, one fight at a time, and you know, try to give my best every time I'm in there. And that's all I can do.
100%. Yeah, you just got to prove to people that you can do it, and I mean, you obviously keep on doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think we'll ever see you in the ring, not announcing but fighting with the gloves on?
I mean, I get this question a lot actually. I've been training in kickboxing, Muay Thai since I was 18 years old,
Oh,
and
really?
you know, I've actually had to take a step back from the training because I actually had a serious knee injury last summer in training, and like I completely tore my ACL and my meniscus. So basically, imagine if you had your vehicle with no suspension on one side. So like basically like that's what I lost. I lost the suspension. So on January 20th, I actually had the surgery to rebuild my ACL and to repair my meniscus. And I'm still recovering now. And actually, funny enough, I got the call up to go to Telford like 2 weeks after my surgery. And during that time, like I was still on crutches and I was still on a cane. So like the first time, like when I went to the airport, that was the first time like I was trying to walk without crutches and a cane. So like when I was going there, like I wanted to show everyone that like, you know, I was strong enough to like, you know, walk in and out of the ring, you know.
Yeah. But
Mhm.
no, I mean, I didn't even realize that. So that's so. Would you ever get back into doing it again,
Oh,
or
100%. Like
yeah?
once my knee is better, like I absolutely love martial arts and I love training. Like I've actually had 3 kickboxing fights.
Oh,
Um
wow.
for and like, you know, I've dabbled in a bit of boxing myself. Like one of the things that I take pride in is like even though like I don't have any aspirations to be the best fighter in the world or compete on a certain level, I take pride in being able to train at a high level.
Yeah.
The place that I train at, it's called FKP MMA. It's one of the first MMA schools ever opened in Canada.
Oh, wow.
And before I hurt myself, like I was like actively training with pro fighters regularly, like guys that are like on the come up going to the UFC and things like that. And like, you know, I'd openly spar with them and train with them. And it was really fun. And like, you know, I look forward to getting back to that level one day. But to answer your question in regards to me competing, myself, like I have ambitions like to compete at a smaller like local level
Yeah.
till before I turn 40. But my
Yeah.
own like my own personal rule is like I don't want to fight where I introduce, just because like I personally believe for myself, especially like being on Misfits, no
Yeah.
one's paying the admission to see me introduce people. It's just not a thing.
Yeah.
You come there to pay for the salt poppies, you come there to see Swarms and KSI and all those guys, right? So my job as a ring announcer, it's to you know, enhance the talent like in the introduction.
Mm.
So basically like whenever I do my introductions, I want to give the guys my best before they go out into battle, right? So like I feel like I would be like doing a disservice to the people that I introduce because like my job is to enhance them and not the other way around, if you know
Yeah.
what I mean, right? But like at a local level, like, you know, I would like to have like a few more fights in kickboxing, MMA, boxing. I would totally, if at a higher level, like if someone wanted to like have me on board for a match, if my knee's better, like I'd love to do one for charity. Like, I'm
Oh
like
yeah.
children's hospital and things like that are very important to me. Or like, the Boys and Girls Club here in Vancouver, like I'd like to help raise money for it. But otherwise, like, I don't want to be like at the OVO as like a fighter. Like that's just not what I am. I'm the ring announcer. But like I'm down to like spar and things like that and train. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I 100% relate to the thing you were saying as well about, and like, I'm not a ring announcer, but as someone that's fought before, just hearing, that you being introduced and announcing it gasses you up so much, and it's
It
such an
does, man.
important role.
It does. And like, for me as well, like having competed and trained for the years that I have, like the person in front of me, I understand like, the hard work and then the determination and the guts that it takes to step into the ring or the cage. I
Yeah.
mean, like, you can't, like, I know like there's bad decisions in a fight, but you can't bullshit your way through a fight. Do you know what I mean? There's so much truth in fighting. And also like the people that step into the ring, it's a very vulnerable position to be in. You're half naked in front of thousands of people,
Yeah.
millions of people
Yeah.
watching on TV. You could get knocked out in front of your wife, your mom, your dad, your grandpa, right? Like it's a very vulnerable position to me. So like to know all these things that are on the line, not just financially, not just like for clout and all that, but like knowing all those other things and all the work that it took to get into it, like I have a great deal of respect for anyone that's in front of me when I introduce them. That's why, like, whenever people like talk down on the crossover scene, it's like, hey man, like, if you think this is trash, why don't you step into the ring? Why don't you put
Yeah.
yourself out there? Right.
It's 100% what I mean. Like at the end of the day, whether you're good, you're bad, whether you win, lose, get knocked out, whatever happens in that fight, all these people that are stepping in the ring at all, no matter how long they're in there for, they deserve the utmost respect because this is boxing and they are putting like their lives on the line. And we see the kind of stuff that could happen in the ring. There was a ultra white collar bout a few weeks ago, up in a city called Nottingham, where I think a guy got either rushed off the hospital or he lost his life. And it was Patrick Day a few years ago, and all this stuff happens. It's a dangerous sport, and people
It
need to
is. It is.
realize that just because these are crossover boxers, they're still putting their lives on the line.
Exactly. Exactly. And, they're doing it for you and I's entertainment, man. Like it's that famous saying, you don't play boxing. You really don't. But like, you can train hard and you
Yeah,
can do your best. And I see nothing but positives for it. And plus, like in my opinion, especially someone that's been involved in combat sports for so long, I feel like, like people should like, there's like so many benefits to this. People should know what it feels like to get hit. So
yeah,
they
yeah.
know not to get hit. Right. And also too, like, I look at like some of the other benefits too. So like if there's like people like, in the YouTube scene, the crossover scene, whatever you want to call it, like if they have issues, you have an outlet now to like get paid,
Yeah,
and to settle your differences.
yeah.
Right. Because like I grew up like, listening to like hip hop and stuff. And like, people used to shoot each other over songs, right? They used to kill each other in the streets. But now you have an outlet where like you can put on some gloves, you have like some legal rules and like you have medical staff and you have proper training. And on top of that, you get paid. So it's like I see nothing but great benefits.
100%. And I mean, it's such a good outlet as well because
Yeah.
you have all these shootings, all these stabbings and whatnot. And at the end of the day, just getting down to a boxing gym, even if you're not sparring or fighting or anything, just to be able to take all of that out on a bag, like it's such a good release. And
100,
it's
100%.
and by these influencers doing it, they're reaching such a large audience of people who are then going to go and do the same thing. And
Yeah.
it's the butterfly effect because somewhere along the line that would have saved many lives.
Yeah. And on top of saving those lives, like imagine this, like, 10, 15 years from now, one day you're going to have like, world champion boxer, like WBC champion.
Yeah.
Heck, you might even have UFC champion one day. And they're going to tell you that their first fight that they saw on TV was not Canelo Alvarez. It wasn't Anthony Joshua. It wasn't Tyson Fury. It wasn't Israel Adesanya. The first fighter that they saw was KSI or Jake Paul. And that inspired them to go to the gym, and they went to the gym. They became world class, and now they're world champion.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
And it's something that's like it's inevitable to be fair.
I
Because
think so.
I as much as I watched boxing before this whole crossover thing, the thing that really got me like, okay, I want to get into this properly is people like KSI because it's seeing that these are just normal people that are coming out of nowhere and able to do it. And that was what made me click and realize, oh, I can do this as well. And I'm
Yeah,
not saying I'm going
exactly.
to be world champion or anything. Like I've had one
Yeah,
fight, and at the end of the day, I'm not the best in the world, but it's just someone could be.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
So you mentioned that you're there to do introducing, like when you're at the OVO Wembley next weekend, you're there to do introductions. But let's say hypothetically, you got a call up from Mams. He said, "You're right, Ryan. So Misfits 8, Misfits 9. We've got an open spot for you, and we'd love for you to fight. First of all, you taking it. Second of all, is there anyone you'd want to fight? Is there any other ring announcers out there that you'd want a bit of a teardown with?"
This is a very troublesome conversation. I mean,
You got to get the clips.
to be honest with you, for like, I mean, like, I guess it might make sense, especially it would be a totally Misfits thing if like I'm the mystery opponent.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like
You're in there
like,
announcing. And
yeah,
you
it's like
rip your
I'm
shirt
in there
off.
announcing. People are waiting, and I rip my suit. And I'm like, it's me, Ryan Ventura, right? That'd be crazy. I don't know, man. Like, if I got the call up to do a Misfits fight one day, like, number one, my health would have to be in order.
Yeah.
Number two, I want it to be an opponent that's of equal level, right?
Mm.
I don't want to. I don't want to like just like fight anyone that would be like super easy. I want to be on the same playing field as them, and I want to have like a good fight and put on a good show. But for me, myself, my number one thing is my health, and right now, like, I'm just physically not capable of doing it. In terms of fighting other announcers, I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to put that out there.
No. It
maybe
sounds
like
to me like you've got a few ideas in your head though.
maybe
Yeah.
a little bit. Like, I mean, like, I don't want to like mention any names because like yeah, I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
I'm just
no,
being
that's
very I'm just being very careful with my words,
yeah, that's completely fair. But now you've said what you've said, next time there is a mystery opponent. If you're in the ring announcing it, I will be awaiting you just to rip your suit off and get ready, get those gloves
Oh,
there, they're under the ring or something.
now my question is, like, hypothetically, like, I get messed up, like, I wouldn't be able to announce the other fights,
That's
so like, so that would be
that is
like, now
true.
it'd be crazy, like, if I just decimate this guy, and then, like, I compose myself again, I put my suit back on, and I just do my job with a
Just
black
carry
eye or
on.
whatever. Yeah, just carry on like nothing happened.
Oh, that would be elite. I can just see as well you announcing it, and like the gloves come from the ceiling. They're just coming down slowly. You put them on, and it be like a move. I want to see it happen. I don't know if it will happen, but I want to see it happen now.
I don't know. I wouldn't hold my breath, but I mean, crazier things have happened, right?
Oh yeah, I'll keep it in mind. So of course, as you said, you're announcing the undercard for Misfits 007 KSI versus Joe Fournier at the OVO arena
Yeah.
or next weekend.
Yeah, yeah.
As we're recording that, this is. Um, so what are your predictions for that main event? Because of course it's a huge main event.
I hate to break this to you, but like, I can't make predictions for any fights that I'm working. It's just bad
Can you
policy.
not?
But like, what I can tell you is that Joe Fournier versus KSI is going to be a very good fight.
Hmm.
And that, like, I know this is kind of like, the traditional promoter talk, but I mean,
Yeah,
like, but I truly believe it. Like, this is actually going to be KSI's toughest test. I know there's like a little bit of controversy about Joe Fournier's credentials, but man, like, he's an actual pro boxer. Like, don't
yeah.
take that away from him. He's a legit guy. And like, he's someone that like is the biggest threat to KSI so far. And all I can hope for is a really good fight and an amazing introduction from Michael Buffer.
You know what? Yeah, I got to respect that, and yeah, I 100% agree. Fournier, he's going to be. I think he will be a bit of a challenge for JoJo. I think he'll pose, some sort of threat,
Yeah,
and it'll be
100%.
it'll be interesting to see how both fighters go about that.
Yeah, I'm super stoked about it. And I'm very curious too to see of course, the results of what's going to happen between Salt Poppy and Anthony Taylor, which in my opinion,
Hmm.
my pick for potential fight of the night and the people's main event, like, what will happen, like, if Salt Poppy just starches like Anthony Taylor and KSI beats Joe Fournier, like, we could possibly see that one day, and that's everyone's dream fight, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, but there's so many like possibilities that could happen. And like when that Salt Pappy Anthony Taylor fight got announced, I was like, I couldn't believe what I
Ooh.
was seeing. I'm like, we're finally getting like, oh, it's gonna be so good.
It's gonna be
Um,
so good, and like, we get to see, like, you saw how Salt Poppy has performed in his last fight. He's been the
yeah.
dominator, right? But let's see how he does against a guy that's an experienced pro who's very durable.
Oh,
I'm
100%.
right. The man just keeps moving forward, right? We'll see what happens. I mean, Josh Bruckner is no bum. Like, when he
Hmm.
fought Salt Poppy, like, that guy's legit, man. Like, he has like legitimate pro MMA experience, and like, he's a tough guy too. But I think Anthony Taylor is just that much more seasoned in terms of fighting, and like, he's gonna present some interesting challenges for Salt.
Yeah, 100%. We saw, of course, Anthony Taylor's not won all his fights. We saw his performance against Idris Virgo, Tommy Fury. He's got a good record on him though.
Yeah, yeah,
But then Salt Pappy, he's someone that no one wants to fight. That left hand of his is dangerous, and he doesn't
yeah.
just take people to the finish line. He makes sure he finishes them off before the fight's over. So
Yeah, yeah, he's a very clever fighter, and maybe that's just like the Filipino genetics in him, man. Like, we're just like born to like fight. We come from like a tough part of the world, and we do everything with a smile on our face, and we like to be jolly and happy and things like that. But if shit were to go down, we all know how to fight.
yeah.
Right?
And at the end of the day, they're both entertainers, and
Yeah,
I can't
exactly.
wait. The build up for it's already been good. I can't wait to see
Oh,
the press
oh man, I
conference.
can't wait for the press conference. One of the things that like I'm kind of bummed out about is that like for myself anyway, like I can't go to the press conference just because when I arrive from Vancouver, like the press conference is over. Right.
Right,
So like
yeah.
so when I touch down in London, the press conference is over. So like I got like the Wi-Fi on my phone,
I was
like
gonna
for the
say, yeah,
airport. So like I'm gonna stream it and see what happens, right?
it's gonna be an interesting one. I can't wait. I'm so
Me
excited
too.
for it.
Me too.
And of course, I do think Sol Pappy, Anthony Danger, and I was going to say Anthony Taylor, they're both very dangerous people in the
Mm-hmm.
scene,
Mm-hmm.
and they could cause many upsets. And that KSI versus Jake Paul fight we all want to see happen eventually. This could be a disruptor in that at some point along the
Possibly,
line.
quite possibly. And like, Joe Fournier could be a disruptor to
Yeah,
KSI too. Like it
100%.
could mess up all these plans. But like,
Yeah,
like it's a there's so much on the line in this fight.
yeah. And then of course we've got the co-main event, Deji versus Forms as well.
Yeah,
Another
yeah,
one I can't wait for. First of all, like
yeah.
I'm looking forward to see how much Swarms has actually improved because his physique is, like tenfold over what it was in his first fight. And of course, in his one against Ryan Taylor, we saw one punch. We didn't get to see that improvement from him. So
Yeah, man. Like this is it's an excellent card. Kudos to the Misfits matchmaking. I'm stoked, man. I can't wait. And even like the Happy Punch like undercard, like there's just all kinds of chaos, man. Like when I saw them announce like the two big guys fighting,
yeah.
I'm very curious to see where that goes.
Oh yeah, like at the end of, I mean, the obvious thing would be, they're just going to both gas out in a round and it'll be a slugfest. But like, who knows? It could be
Yeah.
technical. They could both be showing a lot. Like, who knows what's going to happen? It's going to be insane.
Well, it's gonna be insane. I'm stoked for it, man.
Yeah. I've been talking to one of the guys on the Misfit the Happy Punch prelims as well. And so some of these guys haven't trained pre, finding out about this fight a week ago. And I'm like,
What
fair
the?
play to you for getting in the ring, and it's just going to be interesting to see because at the end of the day, these are short fights for entertainment value, and that's what these Happy Punch prelims will be bringing to the table.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Very exciting.
Yeah, of course, but I mean, is there anything else you want to add at all?
No, man, like I'm, super excited for the card. I appreciate you reaching out to me to talk. Like this
Of
is
course,
a
man.
like this is actually like my final interview of the day. I did two other interviews and I recorded like a promo audio clip for someone's video. So like I've been like staying busy. I'm very grateful for all the opportunities and all the great people like yourself that want to talk to me. And it's helping me accomplish my goals and reach levels in my career that I never thought were possible.
Honestly, man, and you deserve it so much for like
Thank
everything
you.
you do, and you're just such a natural at ring
Thank you.
announcing.
Thank
That
you.
that one DM from the zone is, you can tell it's been helpful for Misfits.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. I hope so. Like, I mean, yeah, the partnership between Misfits and the Zone, like when they announced that 5-year deal, that this scene is not going anywhere, man. And like,
Oh no, 100.
imagine where the scene's gonna be getting closer to the end of that deal.
I mean, this
Uh, you know,
there's 3-0, or there's 3 digits in that X series thing for a reason. This thing's just gonna keep on going and going and going.
I can only imagine what Misfits 100 could be like,
It's gonna
or
be big.
or like if you want to keep up with like the trolling and all that kind of stuff, Misfits 69. Imagine
Yeah.
how crazy Misfits
Oh,
69 could be.
it will be OnlyFans, just the whole
Headline by
card.
headline by Astrid Wet.
Yeah, the whole.
It's very
I mean,
appropriate.
we have to wait that long to see Astrid Wet versus Del Brook.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be incredible.
That's
But yeah,
crazy.
I'm excited to see you at Misfits 007 KSI versus Fournier. I'm going to be there. So
You're gonna be in attendance?
I'm gonna be there. Yeah, I'm doing
All right,
all the fight
all
week
right,
stuff.
man.
I'll be there.
I'd love to meet you in person. Let's take a picture, shake hands, all that stuff.
100%, man. And we
Yeah,
might even have time to get a in real life interview at some point. We'll see.
let's do it. I'm in.
Yeah, 100%. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Finn.
So, guys, thank you so much for watching. Of course, Misfits 007 KSI versus Fournier, Saturday, the 13th of May, the OVO Arena, Wembley. We are going to be there providing all the content for you, of course, as well. We've got SCB 002, 27th of May. Get your tickets at the event right now. Link will be in the description. 20% of all profits are going to be going to the National Autistic Society. So it's all going to a good place, and it's going to be a night of quality fighting from small influences. So yeah, guys, once again, thank you so much for Ryan, and I look forward to seeing you all again in the next one.
Awesome. Take care, everyone.